Is this super controversial to say most iconic American restaurant is McDonald's? And there's no real debating it.
I think that's true.
Okay,
I'm not upset with that choice.
I feel you. And I get it, but I'm just wondering if that is a statement you're making that is slightly dated.
I don't know. I mean, I was thinking of it even more dated than that. I was going to say Shoney's from my childhood.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about today, no, it's not.
Why are you taking my act?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and some people are arguing McDonald's really isn't even what you would call a restaurant. That's not even fair to give it to them.
Keep in mind, too, McDonald's is still looked at as king you-know-what in some parts of the country, depending on where you're at.
Not the Burger King.
We're very spoiled here on the East Coast. We have a lot of options. There's not a lot of options sometimes in certain areas where McDonald's is still king.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you just see everywhere? And, that might be the question. Some people are trying to argue, I don't know, I would like to pitch in for a Denny's because you see it everywhere, coast to coast. Everybody's got it. They're all over the place, and it is arguably definitely a restaurant.
That's what. See, Denny's is the kind of restaurant that you slum. If you know it's not good for you, you know it's kind of bad. You're
it's that person. It's the person you drunk dial.
Yeah, you give in.
You know that. Yeah.
Yes, you're giving into desires.
You don't want to see him in the daylight.
Yes.
You don't want to see him when you're too sober.
But you want to be bad. You want to hook up with Denny's.
That's
you want to get
this. But isn't that what America's all about?
Yeah. And then you would regret it in the morning.
Our shame.
Yeah.
Isn't that all-American thing here?
The best videos of people having late-night brawls are always in the Denny's.
Or a Waffle House. Someone said Waffle House.
Waffle House is good, too.
But the only thing is they're more regional. And we're talking about the most iconic American restaurant. And that means that you have to say, okay, what is still big in a Washington state? That would be big in an Idaho. That would be big in a Florida.
Everybody loves it. I don't love it.
Oh, I could never see you eating at a Denny's.
The Olive Garden.
Oh,
whoa.
OG.
That could be the sleeper we're not thinking about.
That might be.
That could be.
But here's the reason why you're not going to get the vote. Because every time you bring up Olive Garden, not you, but anybody, Italian people get very vocal and mad. It's not real Italian.
They riot.
They do. So it brings
but
anger.
You get that in New York City or in South Florida. There's a lot of Italians. But where I'm from, Olive Garden, they don't know any different. I mean,
Right.
If we got any Italians, they're like fifth generation. They don't even know they're Italian.
I don't get the hate for Olive Garden because bottomless salad, those breadsticks.
I know, but if you grew up and your mama was making, real authentic this and that and blah, 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 and this is not how they make it in the old country, if you're that kind of connected to Italy, I could see where you'd be like, Olive Garden's not it. But if you don't know and you're just an old English
gringo.
dude, yeah, you're an 8th generation English guy, you're like, Olive Garden's the best.
This is making my mouth water. I was mixing it up with the chat room before you even got to this conversation, talking about food with them.
The taste buds are fully back.
Oh, they are fully back, and they are wet. Or watery.
So dirty.
Prove it.
No, I just say they're watery.
I dare you to lick Kevin.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Come on. Stop making this weird, Sinicky.
We got Olive Garden, Denny's, or McDonald's. Does that sound like a weird list if you're talking about the most iconic American restaurant? That's not off, is it?
Those sound kind of legit.
I know you're maybe like, oh, that's so unsexy. But, I mean, maybe. I mean, that's just it. I mean, you got to keep in mind all of America. And trust me, I come from a part that's not sexy. And they love all those places.
Oh, you brought up Shoney's. Remember they had they had unlimited French toast sticks right next to that hot syrup. Oh, my gosh. You did it to me.
Yeah, you're right. It made you wet, didn't it?
Oh, take it easy.
All right.
I know.
Tongue.
All right. Yeah, and somebody's saying, think about it. McDonald's is all over the world, and that might be the most iconic. I get you on that, but again, this is America. So you don't do yourselves any favor in your argument when you say, hey, they got them in Japan. Yeah, but this is America.
Someone says this. Rob, I believe her name's Robin in the chat room. Hooters?
No, it's not big enough because we're a little bit biased because they come from Orlando. They're from, not Orlando, they're from Tampa, that Clearwater. And so, it's got that flow. And they're dying out right now. I'm talking about,
They featured it in The Office. The Hooters, they had a big run in The Office.
Oh, when did that movie come out?
No, the movie, the show.
Oh, the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, because we didn't have a Hooters where I was.
Well, sinful.
Yeah.
Hooters is not what Hooters used to be.
No, and Hooters, I don't think has got that. Like I said, I think they're a Southern Florida kind of thing, and they may, as a novelty, have been something, but that seems like they hit their peak in maybe the 90s.
Definitely. Their best days are behind them.
Yeah.
Now their boobs are just sagging.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Kay Jacobs brings up a point. If it's American restaurant, shouldn't it be American food? I think it's just restaurants in America.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's the most iconic, yeah.
Italians would argue that Olive Garden is American food,
Right,
not
exactly.
Italian.
Yeah.
You're right, they would.
Yeah.
They totally would.
And I don't think they're wrong.
Does Chili's or Cheesecake Factory belong on that?
I do think they belong on the list. Yeah.
Chili's.
Chili's and Cheesecake deserve to be on there. And I'm going to go ahead and say Outback Steakhouse should be on there, too.
Okay. Again, another, boy, that's a Florida franchise as well.
Yeah, but everyone knows
Tampa.
Outback. Outback's everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Do they have Outbacks in Australia?
No, I don't think so.
It's just an American thing.
I think ironically
so
they
it's
don't.
bogus, like Olive Garden.
But I love bogus food, I think. I think I'm just into this kind
I
of...
think you're a bogus
I
guy.
think I like bogus food. Oh, whatever, fancy pants. Why don't you go eat some kind of trout and a crustacean?
I would love a trout and a shrimp.